Straw Hut Media.
And all that jazz.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Wait,
gosh. Oh my gosh.
AJ, what's the thing with Kevin
Wow.
Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of separation? Is that what it is?
It's 5 or 6. Yeah, 6, I think.
6 degrees. So
Yeah.
I feel like we have a different thing, not with Kevin Bacon, but with Rihanna, because, or remember in hosting class, when we took hosting class years ago, back in 2012, our instructor and our mentor, Maureen Brown, who we love
and adore.
I remember she was like, it's funny because there's certain celebrities, people say their name one way, say Rihanna, but it's actually Rihanna.
It's Rihanna. She says Rihanna.
But then everybody says Rihanna.
But the whole world says Rihanna.
So then it's like, do you say Rihanna or do you say Rihanna? But then she doesn't get upset if you say Rihanna, but her name's Rihanna. Anyway, the point is, with our next guest, we have I'm not gonna even do the whole thing. I guess we have Dexter Mayfield.
Come on.
Who, first of all, we're obsessed with.
Yes.
Let me tell you. So I don't know how
Dexter saved our lives one night.
confess your mess. Dexter, you have been in so many different things. You may have seen him in Taylor Swift's video, You Need to Calm Down, which is an iconic video within itself. Or like we said, Savage X Fenty Volume 2.
Or The Voice on NBC, no big deal.
Listen, behind John Legend.
I know, right?
I mean, you have been in this game for so long, and you have a new show coming out April 15th on CBS, Come Dance With Me. But your resume is so impressive. You're from Dallas. And we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Born and raised.
Okay. And then I also want to point out you've worked with J-Lo, Sarah Bareilles, Katy Perry.
Come on.
You have been on the covers of Gay Times, Attitude, and Hardy.
Wait, what?
You've had campaigns with Fenty Beauty and Quay, which we love. Wait, it's not pronounced Quay, is it?
It's key. It's key. Let me secure my bag.
Me.
It's
You're right. It's key. I always get it wrong. But anyway, point being, you are such a fun personality. And now I'm going to let AJ, welcome to the pod, Dexter Mayfield. Now I'm going to
thank you for having me.
let AJ tell you and the people how you saved our lives one night.
Okay, so pandemic's been going on for a couple of years,
Yeah.
and then we get invited to an event, right? And I knew of Dexter because you had pointed him out from the Savage X Fenty.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Dexter.
Right.
And y'all were like social media friends.
Right.
And we go to this event. It was the season premiere for We're Here on HBO Max. Iconic, right? Eureka O'Hara, Shangela, the whole bit, right? Everybody's there. Everybody's out supporting.
The fam.
Yes, and they did not get a premiere party the year before because of COVID.
Right.
So the season just kind of came out. And so everybody came out for this thing. And you decided to wear high heels for the first time in your life out to an event, right? And I was already, okay, so at the time, Dexter, we have a bit of social anxiety. We're definitely extroverted introverts, right? And we can turn it on for the camera. Honey, I can host a red carpet in front of 11 million people live because I have, and not break a sweat. Don't think a thing about it. But you put me in a social setting where I don't know people, especially when there's fierce queer people everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm overwhelmed.
We both talked to our individual therapist about it and said we're going to be social.
We had a game plan going into that night. That's how much anxiety.
Love
we
it.
go to an event.
Love it. Absolutely.
And when we go to an event, we end up in a corner somewhere with ourselves because the good thing is we have each other and the bad thing is we have each other.
Yes.
If we were solo, we would have to mingle. We see people that we kind of know through social media, like the power gays or the insta gays, and we're like, we could go say hi to them, but no, we'll just stay over here. And so we kind of were doing well a little bit. We were smiling at people, but we weren't actually talking. And then you saw me and you're like, Emile. And I was like, I know somebody. But we had never met in person.
Yeah. And I was like,
we haven't.
And I instantly thought to myself, thank fucking God, because we now have somebody to hang out with a little bit, because I wanted to meet all the queens. I wanted to see, but I need a cocktail and I need a Dexter. I didn't even know it.
Need multiple cocktails.
We fell in love with you in that night. Fast forward to the end of the night, we ended up, our good friend Lacey Mosley was there, and so we ran into some other people and had a little kiki throughout the night. It was a fabulous event. But by the end of it, Dexter, can you just tell our listeners and our viewers how Emile's feet were holding up by the end of the night?
This po baby. So I know how it is because I was actually going to wear a heel. I thought about it, and then I was like, again, this is one of the biggest premiere situations that I had been invited to. at the moment. And when I got there, I realized how big. And I was so happy I did not wear heels. So when I saw Emile was not only in heels, but in a good 5 to 6 inch.
Oh yeah, they were there.
They weren't the comfortable heel. They were a sitting heel, if you will. They're not a performance heel, I guess you could say.
It was not a sensible platform. It was a straight up like heel.
Yeah.
It was a stiletto with uplift, the whole situation. It was a patent leather boot, so then it locked to get it off. So I completely understood.
They were cute though. Let everybody know.
It worked with the ensemble.
Thank you.
Period.
He looked
the
great.
look was the choice. We just didn't know there was an after party that would require more walking, and then not just more walking, but more standing.
Yes.
On concrete.
Yes.
And or grass.
Yes.
And for somebody like, I know how I have to approach heels. Like if I'm sitting down, they can go higher. If I'm performing, I need a little bit of support. But when you're just standing in heels, it is the most annoying and most painful thing of life. And you can't really like describe it. It just all of a sudden, the bottom of your feet go numb.
Yep.
But if your feet are numb, where's your weight placement for your entire body?
Right.
So you have to navigate that. So you have to navigate that. And so I had already I've been seeing Emile like lean on every single thing that was in anybody's vicinity.
Yep.
And I was like, I think, boo, it's time to take them off. And I think like when we were both leaving, I was like, you ain't gonna make it to the car. I think you need to take them off.
I was committed for the longest. I was committed. Welcome to Confess Your Mess. We just confessed.
What a wonderful introduction. Right? I love it.
All types of mess. We're going to have such a fun episode. But before we get into some secrets, if you don't know what this podcast is, we have listener submitted secrets.
Sure do.
People give us their confessions, and you can submit your secrets at confessyourmess.us. You can be anonymous. You can leave us voice submissions. You can give us as little or as much information as you want, and it's a blast. Also, follow us on Instagram at Confess Your Mess Podcast.
And also,
yeah.
I don't want to know the rest of the socials. I don't know what the rest of them are.
I know you don't.
Just look us up on socials. But also, you can head over to Apple Podcast and give us 5 stars and write us a review. And if you do that, you might make it onto our pod next week as our messenger of the week. You can also rate us now on Spotify, which is super exciting. That just started a couple of months ago. So in just a moment, we're going to start revealing our listener submitted secrets and confessions. Dexter, and you brought a double whammy for us. This is our first double whammy, I believe.
But save that for the end.
Save it for the end. This is not that moment. Different. Dexter, this is not that moment.
You didn't have to tell me that because I don't want to tell it anyway.
Okay, well, we're gonna make
the longer I can, the longer I can, I will.
Ooh, I love when our guests get nervous.
Right.
But in order to trust you with all of our messenger secrets, right? We just want to know that you can hang, that you're down to reveal a little bit about yourself before we move forward in this process. I can't imagine what would happen if they said no to this. I guess the pod would just be over. I don't know.
But goodbye.
This is more of like a little vice or a bad habit that you have. Maybe it's a person that you still drunk text late at night, or it's a snack that you know isn't good for you, but you can't let go of. Something along those lines. This is like your little secret. This is your mess, but yes.
Is it a yes? I don't know. Just, crushes on go-go boys. That's just.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, no shade, no tea, no shade. I am a go-go boy, so will always be a go-go boy. But just go-go boys. They're really pretty and cute. And sometimes they really know how to do their job. That's all.
Okay.
Amen.
Let's explore this a little bit. So first of all, so if you're in WeHo, because we talked to you before, so we talked to Dexter. We were like, we never go out. This is part of the conversation that night. We were like, we never go out. We want to do like a drag brunch or something. He's like, oh, hit me up. I'll go with you. So we still need to do that drag brunch. But if you're going out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, where are you going? Like, what's your number one spot?
So one, I started Tom Toms. I always started Tom Toms.
Oh, yeah.
I love our beloved West Hollywood, but I need music that I know and music that I can recognize that it starts playing.
Right.
And Tom Toms is such a good way to start that. Cute cocktails. It's loungy, so you don't have to necessarily be like umping, dun, 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 dun,
right.
50, going 100 miles an hour. But after that, Rocco's is super cute. Again, they play songs that I know or recognize as they're recorded. That's amazing.
And so for our listeners at home, just in case you're not in the scene, he's starting at the bar with the Toms from Vanderpump Rules,
right?
And then he's going on to Rocco's, which is partially owned by Lance Bass of NSYNC. So this is how his night is going. Continue.
And then I'll either go to Stash or Revolver, depending on the vibe and the DJ who's there. But yeah, you always end at the smaller bars because everybody's always going to the big ones.
Yeah, you have to reverse it.
I'm like, no, let's end at the intimate places.
Didn't you sing karaoke at Revolver one night?
Yeah, I sang karaoke at Revolver, and this dude who was on that that logo Bachelor, the Finding Prince Charming show, like the gay
years
Bachelor
ago.
show. This dude was in there. He was trying to outsing me while I was performing Dreamgirls.
Can't happen.
I would say
Please
his name,
tell me who was it.
I'll tell you off camera. I have to find his name, and then when I was celebrating my birthday, like a year later, his thirsty ass was trying to flirt with AJ while I was over there.
Him. Oh, you know him, Dexter.
Yeah.
He was getting in my DMs for a while. He's cute. I used to bartend in
He was not cute.
So I used to bartend across from Revolver at 11 years ago. And then I also used to work down the street of what's now the Chapel, which was Here Lounge back in the day. And,
wait, okay, so I
missed them both.
I know.
Well, I love the Chapel. That's where I go to the back area of the Chapel and I will dance my ass off. So, but before we move on to our secrets, back to your original. So, I'm thinking of Revolver. I'm thinking of Rocco's. I'm thinking of all these places. But I can't picture the Stash. We only went to Stash for brunch.
Mickey's has really good go-go's.
Has go-go's.
The Abbey has good go-go's.
When you're looking for a good go-go dancer, where do you
Rocco's
go?
And Revolver. Rocco's and Revolver are my go-to. And Stash is now starting to have go-go dancers. The platforms are coming up and everything's happening. So they just don't have them as much because, Stash is the newest bar and, navigating the territory of
what's the new club that Lance Bass opened up across the street from Rocket?
It's Heart.
Have you gone there?
It's Heart. The former Rage. I have gone there. They is it really changed? I'll leave that up to interpretation.
Okay, so that location has a hard time finding their vibe.
I will say this. This is the most optimized use of space.
Okay,
for sure. Way more seamless. They've definitely opened up the balcony and the back bar area, which a lot of people never knew existed.
Yeah, no.
But,
I never went past the dance floor.
So yeah, no, you can go up and see your wildest dreams. It's great. But yeah, no, it's a beautifully done. Lights everywhere. The kids are living. The kids love it. It's just, I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm still young, just not as young as I used to be.
Yeah.
So I guess the energy as the night goes along is something that I expect different. And again, music that I can understand and like as it is recorded. For those who don't know, that means I don't want to hear more than 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
You don't want to go to a circuit party. And I hear that.
I don't.
I will tell you, back in the day, I used to love me some go-go's. Male, female, didn't matter. I was out for I think it was maybe my 30th birthday or something like that. So this is a minute ago. This is before I met you. And we were out and there was across the street from the Abbey.
Point of clarification.
Yeah. Well, this one, though, was female and she was so fine and so amazing. And she was so fun the whole night, like being flirty and playful with us. She obviously knew I was very, very gay and she did not care. And it was a blast, right? And at one point, somebody told me to lick her. And she stuck her leg out, and she was all sweaty. And I licked her shin, licked the sweat off
Vanessa?
her. Yeah,
it had to be Vanessa?
She was
you
beautiful.
like brunette?
I don't remember. I was so drunk. I have no idea.
You licked her leg?
I licked her leg. Listen, this was way before coronavirus.
If it's who I think it is, it was a leg worth licking. Trust
absolutely.
me. She's
amazing.
Fire.
I do remember she was fire. And then you know this story.
What?
There was a go-go when I worked at 11, and we pulled up next to him in a car the other day. He was driving like some pimped out, like super expensive SUV.
Just an Audi. Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't an Audi.
Yes, it was an Audi.
But it was all pimped out though.
Yeah, it was like it was matte.
Oh, is this an Audi? Oh, you're throwing shade right now.
No,
he's throwing shade because he knows the story.
If it wasn't an Audi, it might have been a matte Tesla. But still,
so he worked as a go-go dancer at 11, and he was so gorgeous. He had the most beautiful body and the most beautiful eyes.
He was,
and he had green eyes. He was stunning. And he knew that I had a crush on him. He was also straight-ish for the most part, I believe. And so one night at the end of our night, this go-go dancer, who was always flirty with me during my shift, walks over to me as I'm sitting down and counting, like we're all sitting down counting our money out of our buckets. It's like 3 a.m. by this point. We've closed down, we've cleaned, whatever. And he's like, "You want this ass, don't you?" And you know what he does? He turns around, bends over, and pulls his underwear down and literally shows me like all of it. And I was like, I know, and I was like, did this man just show me his what? Okay. And to this day,
wanting attention.
And he says he's straight. To this day, I've never unseen it in my brain. Beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Oh, you still see it in your brain? Let's get into these secrets. Actually, before we get into these secrets, let's take a break because AJ needs to reset and get his mind out of the gutter.
Welcome back to Confess Your Mess.
Sir.
You getting jealous, Emile?
Not really. I ain't got nothing.
Oh, you get salty.
Nothing to be jealous of. Excuse me, some light had gone down the wrong path.
Although that little...
We're gonna get into we're gonna get into some secrets, and I love that we're getting into secrets. And when you see the video, Dexter has S's and X's because he's wearing that Savage. Is that Savage X Fenty?
Of course, it is.
Maybe.
That's
maybe.
Sex. Listen,
maybe.
I got Emile his first Savage X Fenty for Valentine's Day. I got him.
Yeah, we talked about it
underwear
with
and a top and a harness
with Jackie.
The all red, the Valentine's Day.
Jackie Cox on the pod, and we talked about this.
I'm well aware of the Valentine's set.
Listen,
I'm very well aware of the set.
Jackie was like, I didn't know they had a harness. I was like, well, I got the harness. So.
They sold out very quickly.
They have a harness. They have jock straps. They listen to the community. They listen to the community,
and they did that.
And that's on Amen.
Okay, let's get into these secrets now that we have had our Kiki sesh. Okay. Okay, let's see. So Frank goes through and they source all these secrets and they figure out which ones are good for this episode. The theme for this episode, they're queer secrets. So since we're all queer and fabulous, we're like, this will be a good thing for this episode. Okay, so our first secret comes from Snow. Their name is Snow.
Okay.
They're from Nigeria and they're male.
Okay, I love the international listeners. Thank you, Nigeria.
Thank you, Nigeria.
No, that's a Megan fan. That is a Tina Snow fan.
I know. I was
for
like,
sure.
There's a Snow in Nigeria.
That is a Tina Snow fan.
Listen,
Classic, got it.
Okay. They said, I had an affair with a guy while in a temporarily long distance relationship. I finally moved my boyfriend over and the affair got cold, but continued on and on for a little while. Then we lost touch and I stayed happy and committed in my relationship. About a couple of years later, when my boyfriend and I broke up, I rekindled the affair and we were going good for a while. Then I cut to a long while into a new affair. I started talking to my ex-boyfriend again. So this is the second affair. So he then started talking to the ex-boyfriend again and found out he was having an affair with the same guy. And this guy had previously denied knowing my ex. Obviously, it's all over now between I and the guy, but only I and my best friend know this, and officially now you guys, of course. P.S. I love you guys so much. You're an inspiration to me in so many ways. And Emile, your body is my goal body, but I want my ass bigger, LOL. I hope I am eventually able to spill more secrets with you guys because you guys make me feel safe. Love you both.
Aww. Honey, so that was a very detailed confession.
Just so we're clear, it sounds like they were with somebody, they had an affair, they broke up with that person, got with the person who they were having an affair with, and then they started having another affair, and then his ex was having an affair.
Here's the situation. You and I are together, I'm having an affair on you with Dexter.
Explain the situation.
No, but I know for you're very confused. We need to put some names on this.
Okay, put some names.
We learned this from Lacey Mosley on Scam Goddess.
Shit, we did.
You and I are in a relationship.
Can I pick a name?
You and I, Emile and AJ, are in a relationship. I'm having an affair on you with Dexter.
Okay.
Got it? Things don't work out with you and I. Dexter and I are now in a relationship, but then Dexter's having an affair with with you and cheating on me now. But all along, Dexter had told me, I don't know who Emile is. I've never met Emile. And you said that you didn't know who Dexter was. But turns out you guys are together.
But then you also are having a new affair with somebody else.
With another one who's not
Can
in
I
this
pick
room.
that name?
Sure.
Marco, because Dexter also modeled for Marco.
Ah, that was really cute. I like the way you did
you're
that.
So
that was really
sweet.
nice.
So there
Love
it is.
you, Marco. Miss you, Marco.
Sounds like an opportunity for a throuple to me.
Right.
Like if y'all are
you're
kind of into each other, then what's the deal?
Yeah. It's just messy.
Here. I'm not gonna lie. Polyamory is not off the table for anything or anybody. Like, it's 2022. We've all learned that we've been indoctrinated to some stuff that we really didn't need to be indoctrinated to. And if you just want to have you a primary, secondary, all the areas, do you and have fun.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. But I'm not saying that for us, we want to be polyamorous. I think, though, for us, we are very much supportive of that because that also is a healthy communicative relationship, right? It's
based on transparency. If transparency is part of it, that's all you need. Like,
if you think about the affair part, you're being secretive.
Yeah, it's always the lying that hurts people. It's the lies.
The intention is to deceive someone, and then once you do that, whatever relationship or foundation that you had is done, gone, hit the bricks.
Guys,
but if you just communicate with your partner, life would be so much simpler.
I think the problem is polyamory in theory sounds like it will be fun for people and some people do it successfully. I think the problem is some people, they don't really want to be polyamorous. They actually like the thrill of having an affair. And that's a separate issue. They like having their cake and eating it too.
Then that doesn't constitute a polyamorous relationship. That constitutes certain words that, I'm just going to keep to myself. But yeah.
Well, that's another layer of like the institutions we've been, brought up and that you were talking about, because this idea that it has to be just two people always forever. And I tell you, I didn't grow up until our relationship. I've never seen a relationship like ours. And meaning that I don't know any of my parents, my aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters who've been married for any significant amount of time that have like this super open communicative relationship where if one person had a kink or a fantasy that they wanted to act out, I don't know that they could even share that in their relationships, to be honest. Yeah. And what we have found is because we are monogamous and it's the two of us, that doesn't mean that there's not some playfulness that is explored, throughout our relationship and discussions that are had and things like that. But what I have found that works for me, and I think you would say the same, is that just the ability to have the discussion with him is such a huge turn on that I'm like, okay, you are all that I need, because that is so sexy that you would even consider allowing me to go explore that. So then I don't need to, and I'm going to stick around. And that works for us. Yeah. And some people aren't like that, and that is fine. But like, we talk about literally everything.
Yeah. Listen.
And there you go. That's the
so yeah. So Nigeria, just try to be honest in the next round, and maybe you might get a different outcome.
Right. And thank you for sharing your secret with us.
And thank you for supporting us. We appreciate
you're doing
you.
well. Say hi to my family in Nigeria. I haven't visited them, but they visited us in the States once. Anyway, you don't know where they are. Okay. This is from Wade, British Columbia. Gender, I don't know. That's what they put.
Love it.
I spent all of high school where I had to hide my trans identity and just said I was interested in drag. Oh,
that's the whole secret?
That's the whole secret. So it sounds like...
Well, that it's very similar to, as we come out, all of a sudden we're bi.
Oh, that's how I started.
Even though we're, neglecting actual bisexual people's experiences. So we should, to clarify, let's not do that anymore in your coming out process unless that's true to your experience, obviously. Right. So I think that's how I can relate to that, like liking drag. And I think that drag is the gateway for so many trans people to explore, like, oh my God, like I feel more comfortable in this being as in the being that I'm being presented to the world. So like, that's a beautiful confession, and just thank you for that. But I think that, it's even take, for instance, this season of Drag Race.
I was going to say that.
Like Bosco 3 or 4 contestants now 3 or 4 contestants now have come out as trans or non-binary or exploring their transness on top of the contestants who had already been in the competition. So I think it's just such a beautiful gateway to enter a safe space of really knowing who you are.
And you never know sort of what your experience will do for somebody else, because it was Carrie Colby was openly trans on the show, and then Bosco just sort of revealed recently, and then also on the show, Jasmine Kennedy had a full breakdown saying how she felt so like safe to finally express this in front of these other queens. And it wasn't that many seasons ago that we had our first trans contestant on the show, like openly trans, right? And presented as trans and was celebrated on the show. And now it's opened this like Pandora's box of just this evolution of beauty that's happening on the show, which I think
including
is really
Willow
cool.
Pill now.
Willow Pill, yeah.
Willow Pill as well.
I love Willow Pill.
You know, it's
and
we love when people get to be who they are.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the beauty of safe spaces as we navigate what's going on and what has been going on in this country for a while, but specifically, you know, all these laws and bills and bans that are going on. As we navigate this, I think what we're saying, what we're crying out for as members of the queer community, or I can speak for myself at least, is that safe space is so necessary, right? So we went to the HRC dinner recently, and one of the things that really moved me was I can't remember who was speaking. It might have been the interim president, and they were saying how damaging it was with some of these bills and laws going into effect, because they remember coming out to their English teacher and how that was a safe space for them. And I remember, like, looking back, I didn't come out in high school to anybody. I didn't come out until I moved out here in LA, to LA. But I do remember that there were quote unquote safe spaces where I didn't necessarily come out to these teachers or to this administrator, but I felt space. I knew. And so because I didn't feel comfortable in spaces around other people my age and around other guys my age, but I would go, this is sad kind of, but I, instead of going to lunch, would volunteer during lunch in the library because that was a safe space for me.
I volunteered in the front office so I could sit with the secretaries. Because
I was terrified.
Volunteered every day. Or I'd go hang out with Mrs. Klopflesh, who was the arts teacher, whose husband was actually the mayor of our town, but she was this hippy dippy little stoner teacher. Yeah. And I wasn't out, but I knew she was safe for whatever it was that was inside of me that I was trying to hide.
So imagine being in an environment where even the mention or discussing those things, and obviously that's high school, but I knew I was gay since I was like 3. So
5 or 6 for me, for sure.
And I don't need to get into how I knew, but I knew. And so I'm just saying, you know, with this particular secret, it's not uncommon that you didn't feel comfortable in high school. And I will say, I'm glad you're sharing that secret with us, and it sounds like you're still on your journey.
And also, I think it's also worth pointing out, and Dexter, you made a really great point to not to necessarily like try to latch on to the bi experience unless that's actually your experience. But also another factor here is, when was this story? Like when was your coming out? When were you hiding? Because I initially came out to my parents as bi because it was the safest thing for me to do at the time. But this was also 22 years ago. Yeah. And so it has changed. The conversations have changed. And for me to actually go from what they thought they knew about me all the way to gay was a bridge too far. Yeah. So bisexual gave them a little bit of hope in the months until I was able to actually say I'm actually just very gay. Yeah. So
and that's the thing. It was always it was more of a cautionary thing to do, because that's the thing, you were giving them hope, because it's again us trying to appease someone else, even though we're trying to live our lived experience authentically, and we're still thinking of someone else because of what they would say. 1,000%. It's kind of, you know what I'm saying? So it's again just unlearning all these bad habits, you know, and just learning to be better and be okay to disclose, like, hey, this is something that I don't feel safe doing at home. Can I confide in you? Because I think that is another thing that we kind of missed, at least when I grew up, is that identifying adults who could really share and guide us down that path. And especially trying to legally take that away is so frustrating.
Well, I'm glad you touched on that, because you are from the state of Texas, and
very much so.
There is a thriving queer community in the state of Texas. However, they're being targeted right now what do you say to the kids back home and their families who are just trying to be seen and remain, visible? What do you say to your home state?
I think that specifically for those who are doing it the right way and being transparent with their parents or with someone that's important in their lives, don't change any of your approach. Like, I know that these bills and these intimidation tactics, because in Texas, at the end of the day, like, you literally cannot legally do this. You cannot go to a parent of a trans person and be like, you're committing child abuse. Like, there's no possible way that you can actually do that. That's why they keep trying to come up with legislation where you can stick and sue people for it's, like that. It's literally no way for it to happen. And they're just fighting tooth and nail to keep it the same way because their way of life is being exposed is problematic. And it's like, just let it go. Guess what could happen if you just stop pressuring these young people who just want to live their lives? It's not your life, Mr. Abbott. It's not your life, Texas Attorney General. Like, just let people live and you won't even be bothered by them at all. So just stay strong, stick to what you know, and just keep going. Just keep going and keep being you. That's as simple as it gets, kids.
Amen. And guess what, Governor Abbott?
Yeah.
You might learn a thing or two, and you might actually realize that you love our community because we are vibrant and we are gorgeous and diverse and a whole lot of fun.
Period. Period.
Let's take a quick break.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, that's a good time to take a break. We'll be right back with more Confess Your Mess.
Okay, let's get into more secrets. I think we have two more. Okay. Jason, New York City. Male. Hi, boys. You just popped up in my YouTube algorithm, and I loved and lived for it.
Wait, did the algorithm just work for us for the first time ever?
Apparently.
Wow.
So here's my secret, and in all caps, it is messy as hell. I love straight men, like to a point where it's become my fetish. I don't have a romantic relationship with them, but I have a rotating cater of 7 or 8 straight guys that regularly break me off.
Newsflash, not that straight.
Right. One of them even is the super of the building next door to me. With every one of them, it started as just straightforward, unreciprocated oral sex through a glory hole. It always progresses.
Wait, every one of them?
Every single one. Wow. It starts off that way, through a glory hole. Because, they be putting a glory hole and they're like, I don't have to see them, so I can just pretend like I'm not, whatever. Sure. It always progresses to way more like me getting raw dogged in a dirty basement while they pull my hair. These guys vary in level of attractiveness and D size. All of them have wives. Some have kids. I swear it makes me orgasm harder than I ever had with actual gay or bisexual men. I don't know if it's the mind of knowing they're going back to their wives after, or if it's because it's so taboo. But I'm starting to not want to have sex with gay men, even more so when it comes to the apps, because I could be a model and it still gets insulted or turned down. Some of the straight guys are so appreciative after. It makes me feel good to be their outlet/cum dump. I'm tested every 3 months and on prep. So that's my mess. Please don't judge me, but also any advice is appreciated. Okay, I'm trying not to judge.
Yeah, okay. I'm not judging.
Okay, I'm gonna be straight up. I'm not this, and this is not a mess situation.
Oh, here we go.
But aside from the problematic, straight fetishization and all those things,
right?
To be honest, of the people that do come to me on the app, the straight ones are always way respectful, way more actually interested in conversation and getting to know me as a human being. And you don't have to deal with the messiness that the community can sometimes bring. So I get that. But aside from all the the really kind of mentally damaging things he's kind of putting himself through, I understand why connecting with someone who doesn't identify as gay can be a bit of a fresh air. Yeah. But no, we do not get off on them going to deceased partners. That's what we're not going to do. Yeah. Not going to do that. Not going to do that.
It always comes down to the lying for me. And if there's lying and deception going on and people are being hurt unwillingly, then I think that it's bad. And I think that this person probably gets off on these scenarios because it's all they've ever known and it's become like a routine. And I think there's some therapy that needs to happen somewhere, conversations that need to happen. And I'm not judging the person, I feel for the person. Because I've been in a situation where I dated somebody for years and our sexual relationship was non-existent. We were best friends. I wanted more, and I started to feel really terrible about myself because it wasn't happening, right? And this person had a long history of some religious just junk that they had to deal with in their life. A beautiful human being. We're still friends to this day. But that person cheated on me with my best friend and revealed to me that it was the sort of the danger and the naughtiness of it that was able to like get him off. And that's hurtful because I really loved him deeply. And I know that he loved me and he still does. But there was such a damage at that point in his life that he was unable to even have sexual relations with me in a healthy, committed relationship because of all of the underlying stuff that he'd been through in his life that he had not addressed. He's very much in a happy relationship now and living a great life. But he addressed it and changed. I think that this situation, there needs to be like some evolution going on.
Here's what I'll say. I really don't judge. I understand people have kinks and fetishes, and I get all that. I don't always support necessarily. It's not but it bothered me when you like. It was already bad for me. I am judging a little bit. It was already bad for me with the.
We keep it real.
I'm judging. Okay, I'm actually judging.
Like the straight aspect of it, I can understand to a degree. Like like Dexter said, like you might like the difference of, but again, they're not really straight. They're definitely curious or something.
They're at least
that's why I said. That's why I corrected my statement, and I said they don't identify as gay. I didn't say that they were straight.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's not put a label on them. But it was when I read the part about the ones that have kids.
Yeah.
It just we had a secret before where somebody, and it gets hard for me. What I will say though is maybe try exploring this. If you were into a certain type of man, maybe find a gay guy who identifies as gay, who maybe presents themselves in a more quote unquote straighter masculine way, whatever that is that you're into.
Yeah, it's a character trait as opposed to
or continue.
The other option that I was gonna have is you can get somebody like Adrian and I, we role play. So sometimes he's professor, I'm the student.
Professor Gibson.
If you have somebody that you start dating, it could be a situation where you let them know, and granted, again, you still need some type of therapy, but it could be a situation where he is acting a certain way in those sexual situations that turn you on in the way that you are turned on by those people without actually having that baggage attached to it. There's a lot of.
I will also say though.
Option 3.
Yes.
Look for single, bisexual, or fluid men. Because we tend to negate them, and they exist, and they are beautiful human beings.
Yeah.
I would say go down that road. As well as an option. Someone who's single, or at least in a transparent relationship. Not open. Transparent. Like you can still go for someone that may not identify as a gay male, but also go for someone who's not deceiving people, because you could actually build an attraction or build a relationship with that person without the problematic things of hurting other people.
1,000%, because what it sounds like this person's actually into is the sort of masculine approach to sex, one, and also that they actually treat them kindly with a little bit more respect than gay men. And first of all, not all gay men are going to disrespect you, by the way, but also there are more options. So. There are so many more options than just straight or gay.
Yeah.
And that's the gray area, if you will, that you need to explore, because children will be hurt in these scenarios. But let's also, and to this person, I'm not going to credit this person, but I don't want to drag this person completely and say it's all your fault. Those men have children and wives. They hold culpability in this as well, even more so.
Not culpability, all 100% of the accountability does fall on them. Yeah.
Yes, it's not. This person doesn't have children.
Yeah.
This person doesn't have
this is a habit that's been formed over time, and it's because again they don't feel they can live their authentic lives. And also we could also be assuming and jumping the gun. We don't know if these men are transparent with their partners and or their children.
Maybe some
that
of them
could
are.
also be an option. That could also be an option too.
Because they might be very well. They may very well be married to a woman who's like into the kinkiness of it, and she likes to know what happened.
Because I will tell you right now, I know menses who are very upfront with their wives, and their partners take more of a like, I'm not a man, I cannot provide that. Let me not disrespect his space for being attracted to that, or you know what I'm saying. So it's again transparency and communication.
All right.
My curiosity is if this person would still be turned on if he found out that these men are being transparent with their wives, because it sounds like they're turned on by like the naughtiness of it all.
And that's something that they need to look into.
Exactly.
Because it all starts with the glory hole and ends with becoming a cum dump in the basement.
There's levels to it.
All right. So let's go to
literally level.
Their words, not mine. Okay. So the last secret before we get into Dexter's secrets,
double
by
feature.
the way. Dexter came with 2 secrets. Okay. Anonymous female Nebraska. A healthy secret for me. My fam doesn't know that I'm gay, but I'm not very close with them, and they don't deserve to know if they can't love me in my fullness, period. I don't keep secrets from my chosen family. Dexter literally, he's doing a praise dance. They said, I don't keep secrets from my chosen family and friends, and I am surrounded by queer love.
Yes.
I really am an open book. I just don't tell my homophobic blood relatives because 1, safety, and 2, I only share with people I trust. Love you guys. Shout out to you, anonymous female in Nebraska.
She said, first of all, I know who I am, and I am who I am, and I love who I am, and if you don't get the out, kudos. But I will say this.
Yes.
Give your family the opportunity to show up and be there for you and love you. And then if they don't, then they can kick rocks.
That's good. That is good.
Yeah.
That's real, because I will tell you, we've talked about this on the pod quite a bit, and we've gone through the emotions of planning a wedding and then finding people's varying levels of support for our relationship, which has been shocking in some instances after 9.5 years. And some of it is just things that we've taken maybe a little bit more personally than they're actually intended. Sometimes it's other issues that are keeping people from attending, and that's totally fine too. And we've had to kind of process all of our emotions.
I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, but we're at a point now where we're like, we love who's going to come and support us, and that's okay. And we had recently on our pod Yvette Nicole Brown, and after the pod, she hung out and chatted, because we've known her for years and haven't caught up, face to face for a while. And she prayed over our relationship and prayed for us and our marriage and our ceremony and everything.
You're not going to make me cry on Confession Mess. That's what you're not going to do.
It was beautiful.
It was just a really
such
incredible,
a genuine moment.
Just a wonderful woman. And she said, listen, you don't want people there who don't want to be there for you anyways. And my own sister, my only full-blooded sibling in the world, has changed in recent years, and she can't support our marriage for some reason now. And that devastated me for a long time. But she knows exactly who I am. I gave her the opportunity to love me, and she did until she didn't. And now I just don't hold space for her in my life anymore. And that's been difficult to sort of process. He's been there for a lot of it, supporting me through it. And some of my family, they finally get it. I think we all wish it were different, but you can't force anybody to love and accept you.
And I love this. I love this outlook from her, and I love what you said. At least give them the chance. Let people show you their true colors, right? So you can. I love that you are open and you are. You have your chosen family and your friends. At least, like Dexter said, give them the opportunity when you feel. Because she did say 1 was for safety. So if you feel like you can't, I didn't come out. Until I moved to LA. Y'all notice if you listen to the pod, I'm from Atlanta, the Bible Belt, and my dad's a pastor.
To the close family, same, literally same.
And funny enough, I don't know if I told you this. My mom texted me the other day, and she said that they're essentially planning in 2023. I'm also half Jamaican. My mom's Jamaican. She said they're planning like a family trip with all of her brothers and sisters. She has like 6 or 7 brothers and sisters, and they want to all meet in Jamaica with all the kids. And I paused and I said, she said, I don't know how you feel about that if you want. And I was like, I'm gonna have to like pray about that and think about that, because there's still certain family members who have never acknowledged that I'm gay, have never talked about AJ, but yet they want to call and reach out when they see me on TV or they see something going successful in my career.
Or they see me on TV and they love me. Oh, he's on Wendy Williams again.
I'm not even talking about them, though. I'm talking about some who literally, not talking about the family you know. I'm talking about brothers. Let me be quiet for it. But anyway, so I have to
confess your mess.
I have to think about that, but it also breaks my heart because we used to go to Jamaica almost every year growing up.
Our dog is named Kingston.
He's named Kingston. And so we used to go to Jamaica almost every year. I haven't been to Jamaica since 2008. And I remember I said that I was going to go in 2018. I was going to try to go, and that didn't work out. And so it's been over a decade since I've been back, and I'm conflicted because I've never been to Jamaica as an out proud gay man, and it's very homophobic there. And so I want him to experience Jamaica. If we did go, I don't know how that experience would, or what it would look like.
Am I invited?
I will say this. I will say this
on a separate trip.
I will say this, especially like when it comes, and specifically like traveling to destinations like Jamaica or Thailand, Bali, for instance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think there's safe space, but baby, we gonna find a safe space.
Oh, we
no matter in the world.
Yeah. Thailand and Bali, we felt so comfortable.
First of all, Bali, I don't care. That gives WeHo a run for its money any day. And it is literally half a block. And that is all you need. I was like,
we love Bali. We went right before the pandemic, and thank God we did, because we needed that vacation.
Major vacation.
Same. I was like,
and we had so much fun.
Yeah, I feel like I was a year before the pandemic. Yeah.
We went to different areas of Bali. We were there for like 13 days, but we went to one of my favorite areas was Seminyak.
I know.
And it was like this beach club that we went to, and it was
Seminyak.
Yep.
And
it was
I think the same place was Sandleton, maybe. I think. I can't remember.
All over the place.
Yeah, we had some.
And
drinks.
then the pandemic just changed things, and we forgot. But we'll go back for sure. But you're right. And listen, you always have to be aware of yourself as a queer person traveling anywhere. But there are safe spaces. You can find places. I would go to Jamaica, and it is what it is. We stay on the resort, and we do our research ahead of time.
I know, but it's just so beautiful, and to go to Duns River Falls and like actually explore. But also, you can go like to websites like Gay Cities or different things like that, and you can find like the safe areas.
And also, luckily, you and I aren't. I hate to say luckily, but if we're out in public, we're not necessarily getting clocked as the gayest guys in the world right out the gate.
But after I had some drinks in me, listen, baby.
But listen, we just don't drink off the resort. That's the game plan. And it is sad, but yeah. I want to go to Jamaica.
Navigating our world.
Listen. Right? All right, let's take another break, and then we're going to come back.
Then we're going to navigate our way onto a double feature.
Ooh. So now it's time for Dexter Mayfield to confess your mess.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, so first two-part, which is too bad. I have never had a boyfriend, like ever.
Wow.
It's not sad. It used to be sad, but I'm fine with it because my outlook on relationships is so informed just from seeing friends and vibing how I feel through the space, and it's just like, I think that's kind of what also has helped me, I guess you could say, in my journey of self-love, because I really had time to just really focus on like, who in the hell are you, Dexter? Yeah. And how can we build our relationship together as an individual before we bring anybody else into it? So that's a bonus, at least from my standpoint. The more frustrating part two of this is that I have not had penetration in about 4 years, either or, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my mess.
Okay, I don't think that's messy. I think that's actually very vulnerable and real. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah,
and I think we also put so much emphasis on penetrative sex, like it's the only way to have pleasure with somebody, and also
I can guarantee you it is not.
Hey, see, okay,
not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So I want to go to your first part of your secret and say that for you to be so self-aware to say that I need to get to know myself and that relationship needs to be solid before I'm going to bring somebody else into this mess, right? That is beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of people need to follow that advice.
And this man to my left has been on a date with one person his entire life. One. He's had one boyfriend, ever, and he's marrying him this summer. It's me. So, you don't listen. I dated a lot of dudes. I kissed a lot of frogs to get to my prince.
A lot.
To get to my king.
Frogs.
And so
they never turned into no prince.
And Emile's voice right now kills me.
I mean, I had a lot of practice. I had a lot of really great sex.
I wouldn't
so
say
I could
great.
be ready for him.
I wouldn't say great. It was mediocre, I'm sure.
But I think that oftentimes our society puts so much more.
So much.
They look for quantity and not quality. Right? We're always looking for more. That doesn't mean it's better.
Period.
So do what you got to do to get it all right, so that when you meet the one, whoever the one is, if there is one or two or three or whoever it is, that you can get the best Dexter Mayfield that you could ever present. So I love that, and I thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And then
they make great toys for the other stuff.
Listen, if you ever do an OnlyFans, or you decide to explore, that part, you could name the one of your videos "Sliding into the DM," but it's like the Dexter Mayfield.
You better pay 10% for that one.
You will be, because she's gonna be on CBS. More power to all my OnlyFans creators and everybody who exists in that space, but, I can't do it at the moment.
CBS is a little conservative.
Exactly.
So let's
exactly.
We got to read the room first. But if I were to, that would be a beautiful idea.
Listen,
I feel like some people are about to be sliding into your DMs because you are going to be on CBS and millions of people are going to know you for the first time. It's a brand new audience.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So first of all, AJ was telling you before the pod that he's known Trisha Miranda for years. He used to be her trainer.
I was her trainer.
And Trisha Miranda's on the show with you. I personally don't have any connections to show or dance besides you. However, I will say, AJ knows this. It is one of my dreams to be in one of those, like in the Millennium Studio, and do one of those videos where they go forward and backwards.
Yeah.
I
can't forward and back.
I can't dance. Or do you think I can dance?
Yes. Okay. So I'm not good with choreo. Okay, Dexter, you might be able to break this down for us.
You can move.
Yes, you
can move.
We both have rhythm. We both have rhythm. You're actually a really good dancer when you get out of your head because, and maybe it's because I have a little more to drink in me too, but when you have a couple drinks in you, and you start vibing, I remember there was one time we were coming home and you were just dancing like up a storm, and I was like, oh damn, like he's good.
Oh yeah, that reaction?
Yeah, I thought you were so sexy. But I think you get inside your head a little bit and you don't let that part out.
We'll come back to me, but I want to know about the show. So so for people who don't know, the show comes out April 15th on CBS, 8 p.m. What's the show about? What makes the show different than other dance shows? Like, why should we tune in?
It just brings me so much joy to
Besides
actually. Oh, thank you. But it does bring me really so much joy to be a part of this beautiful new show. It's called Come Dance With Me. And basically, we have young, beautifully talented dancers between the age of about 10 to 15. And they ask an adult, or in this season's case, their parents, to come dance with them. So it's very similar to having an experienced dancer and a not so experienced mover, as we've seen on another show called Dancing with the Stars. But we combine that where it's like the child and the parent element. And it's just so beautiful. And these families, these entire teams are all so talented. And I just cannot wait for everyone to see how beautiful and how unifying the show really is. I'm just so proud to be a part of it. I absolutely adore and love my TV family, Jenna and Trisha and Philip, and we're just so excited for everybody to see some beautiful entertainment.
No, I think that's it's so gorgeous, and I love that a major network like CBS is giving a platform to regular people because I'm kind of overseeing celebrities get more and more and more and more and get showcased more and more and more and more. Like, I like real people's stories. That's what interests me.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to tune in. I love watching dance too. I've said this before. I wanted to be a dancer when I was a kid so bad. It was my
and
dream.
I'm gonna tell you this right now: these parents get down.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna be some more bookers in the families by the end of the show. I feel it. I already know. Like it just has so much heart. So much heart, so much talent.
We need to start a family right now.
Well,
so by
wait a minute.
by season 12, we can be on the show.
We ain't got to start no family. We can start by taking a dance class with just the two of us first.
I guess that's probably more valuable. I came up with a 12-year game plan.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of these parents, all of these parents went in head first. And baby, I can't wait for you to see. I literally just cannot wait for you to see.
It's a competition still?
It is a competition for $100,000.
That's some coin.
Okay, so see, but you talking about starting a family? We can't just do it and have a family. So we'll start the family, paying for a surrogate or adoption or whatever, and then what if we don't win?
Well, listen, we can adopt an 11-year-old and be on the show next year, season 2.
You're right.
Okay.
But then we have to win $100,000. But then it's the conflict.
Or we'll just watch and support you.
Yeah,
we can go dancing sometime and just skip the rest.
Listen.
Either or, all options are on the table.
I want to know how do they reach out to you? Because you embody such love and light, but you're not the body type that's oftentimes been showcased on shows like this, right? Yeah. And Rihanna gave you a chance, but you've been making some chances for yourself for many years, right? So when CBS reached out, how did that conversation go down? Like, how did they approach it, and what did that feel like?
For one, I was very shocked. I got an email from my agent, and he was like, "So, Dexter, are you thinking about going into TV at all? Because CBS wants you to possibly judge a dance show." And I was like, "You're kidding." I'm gonna answer, sure, but whatever, this ain't happening. Right. Cut to next day meeting with executives from CBS. That got real really fast. And all I can say is, after the process of, securing the gig, I will say that I completely bawled like a little child. And and especially this was, again, still during the pandemic. So for an opportunity like this to come around, I was just jaw dropped, hit in the chest, couldn't believe it. And that my experience of being a dancer who does not look like everybody else actually worked in my favor, because I can provide an experience that a lot of people haven't been able to see and or share or do anything on their screens. We're finally getting into a place where not just with dance, but bigger bodies are finally being included in the conversations when it comes to diversity, and when it comes to just being included in the conversation. Because a lot of times people just discount us for being unhealthy, lazy farts. And it's just that's not the case. We're human beings. Our bodies just look different, and that is it. So I think that because I did have that experience of pushing to the pavement and just hustling in this industry, because I don't care what anybody says, Kim Kardashian gave beautiful advice, because I had to work hard to get to where I am. And baby, me and her have two completely different lives. So I think that if you really love something and if you're passionate about it and you put in the work, it will come to you over time. You just have to put in the work, which is what I heard from Miss Kim. So,
hey man,
I support you, Miss K.
Yeah, I get why people are dragging her a bit, but I also support the thought process behind it. It does require hard work, and I think oftentimes people, this generation in particular, just want to just be like, well, sorry, it's just too much.
I feel like if you're working hard, she wasn't talking to you.
Yeah,
and totally. If you don't work hard, she was talking to you.
I hear you.
But I work hard, so I was like, she ain't talking to me.
I got my start hosting years and years ago on an after show for So You Think You Can Dance, and it was my favorite show for many, many years. And I remember a dancer on I think it was Benji's season, Danielle. I think it was Danielle Jones, and she was
literally my heart, my absolute heart. Okay.
So remember though, when she was on, she was the first plus size, and she's not even that plus size.
She's the reason I'm dancing. When I saw Danielle, I was like, oh, maybe I can actually do this.
Really?
And funny story, it does involve Trisha. Trisha's her actual best friend. Like, they are best friends.
What? I
like
never knew
Trisha,
this.
like Trisha choreographed one of her solos, like on the show. Like Trisha choreographed it. They have been such guiding lights, like physical guides in my life through the dance industry. Trisha was one of the first people that gave me an opportunity to perform live. Danielle was literally my first teacher who I ever assisted in dance class. She's like, because of those two women, I am here. So
I've known Trisha for so many years, and Danielle, I just remember being so moved by her movement. And they made such a storyline. They made such a storyline out of her body type, which looking back is so wild. But at the time, we didn't see that body type anywhere in dance, on television, on tour with our favorite pop stars.
Do you remember around what year that was?
Oh gosh,
that was 2007. I can already tell him, because that's the year. That's the year I decided I was gonna try and do this. So like, I already know what year it was.
When I first moved out here. Absolutely.
And just speaking of Danielle, we have to send her so much prayer and so much love. She's currently being hospitalized due to her cancer diagnosis. She's stage 4. She's still pumping. She's still going. But I just want to send so much love and so much prayer to her, and just keep fighting, my love. We adore you.
Dexter, I will say, as we wrap up the pod, you talked about when AJ asked, how you found out about the opportunity and the person, you said, your agent reached out, and then like the very next day you were talking to CBS execs. I know you have an agent. We have agents and all these different things, but I think that story in itself is a reminder, though. You talked about hard work, regardless of how many likes you're getting, if the follower count is growing or declining, you still put in the work, and you never know who's watching. It just takes one person.
You never know who's watching.
Right?
You never know who's watching.
There's something about this person that I love, that I gravitate to. And for you, you bring us so much joy every time you pop up on our feeds. You exude this confidence and this light about you that even if somebody's having a bad day, you brighten their day. So I think so proud of you. I know you've had so much success, but this is such a huge opportunity for you, and we will definitely be supporting, watching, and also recording our DVR.
Yeah, you just make me smile.
Yeah,
you're just one of those souls that makes me smile.
You don't even need your DVR, because baby, we're coming to Paramount Plus every week, so it's already there.
Okay, we got our Paramount Plus. We subscribe to everything, by the way. I remember when streaming apps came out, and we were like, we are not subscribing to all these different things.
Same, and I got every single one of them, and I would not change a thing. I'm never going back to cable. Ever.
And we have all of them and still pay for
cable.
We
got
all of it. So there you go.
Okay, so you listen to the pods, but every single episode we like to end with the takeaway of the day. So from this episode, what would you say is your takeaway?
My takeaway from this episode, and ironically, just the line throughout for everybody, just be yourself, be transparent, just love yourself before you love everybody else. And if you're loving everybody else, just tell your people what you're doing. That's it. Just be transparent, people. If you do that, then when you confess that you're sleeping with whoever, however, no one will judge you, because everybody already knows the tea.
So good.
I love it.
Good.
We love you, Dexter.
Dexter, thank you.
So it's
I
April 15th.
love you both so much. I'm excited
CBS.
now.
Yes. Congratulations.
Don't come for me. Don't come for me. She gives face and she gives looks. Don't judge me too harshly. Don't judge me too harshly. The fashion police, don't come for me. I styled myself. That's just the beginning. We're gonna see how it goes.
Oh my goodness. We will be supporting.
Adore.
Confess your mess.
Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret you want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh.